Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today.
Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis. One of my viewers wanted me to do another installment in the Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis series. And for this installment in the Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis series, I am going to be talking about Academy Award-winning actress Angelina Jolie. Now, Angelina Jolie Voight was born the daughter of Academy Award-winning actor Jon Voight and French-Canadian actress Marceline Bertrand. And Angelina Jolie Voight basically wound up on the road to becoming a woman in crisis ever since she was about 1 year old when Jon Voight decided to abandon her mother and her brother James Haven and walk out on the family. Now, as he went out here and abandoned his family, Jon Voight basically walked away from his daughter, leaving her on the road to becoming a woman in crisis. Now, when it comes to daughters look to be nurtured by their fathers, and when a daughter is not nurtured by her father, this creates a sense of insecurity in that daughter, and that sense of insecurity is the thing that drives a lot of daughters to go out here and start participating in antisocial behavior in order to get the attention of their father. Now, this is what Angelina Jolie basically started participating in when she was young, because she found out that her father basically just abandoned the family. And when she found out her father abandoned the family, this is the thing that I believe devastated her, and devastated her to the point where she was just hurting because she felt like she could not receive love from her father. And because she felt like she couldn't get love from her father, she felt like she was hurting on the inside. And this is something that is common to a lot of girls who come from single mother households. The daddy issues that these girls have are the main motivating factor for them acting out in rebellious and antisocial fashions. And the way the mother has to deal with this is they become overwhelmed, and they cannot really deal with that whole situation because they cannot fall into their natural role of disciplining and teaching a girl, because they don't have any sort of man there to balance things out. And this is what led to Angelina Jolie further going down the road to becoming dysfunctional, to the point where Jolie's mother, who was raised as a Catholic, did not require her to go to church to give her structure, because the mother was overwhelmed by the emotional betrayal of her husband and was also not able to assert authority over her daughter because she was also possibly feeling guilty about the failure of the marriage. But as Angelina Jolie was growing up, she basically wound up on becoming a further woman in crisis as she got older. And as she got older, her mother was out here working to make a modest living for their family. But then her daughter was attending Beverly Hills High School, where her life just got that much worse. And it got that much worse because Angelina Jolie was dealing with a lot of kids from these affluent families, and she was living with a possibly middle-class mother, and she was teased by the other students for being thin, wearing glasses and braces, and her mother tried to help her build her confidence by going out here and trying to get her into modeling. But sadly, this did not work, and it further gave Angelina Voight more of a complex. And then she wound up transferring to an alternative school where she wound up becoming more of a punk. And I believe she wound up becoming more of a punk rebel, wearing the all-black clothing and going out moshing and engaging in sexually deviant behavior like knife play with her live-in boyfriend. because she was basically looking to go out here and make desperate attempts to get the attention of her father, John Voight, in an effort to make him care. Because oftentimes what happens with a lot of girls who have been coming out of a divorce is they feel hurt because they feel like their fathers have rejected them. And because they feel like their fathers have rejected them, what they want to do is act out in ways in order to get their attention. And that's what I believe happened with Angelina Jolie Voight when she was much younger. And as she was younger, she was looking to, again, get their attention by becoming this punk outsider. And she was also looking to get her father's attention by having her boyfriend come to live with her and her mother. Now, Angelina Jolie was basically so out of control that her mother felt so overwhelmed that her mother felt like she could not control her daughter and wanted to go out here and do things to try to keep her daughter in the home, at least around her. So she conceded and let her 16-year-old daughter go and live with her boyfriend and let her boyfriend and her live and sleep in the same room. She basically made this concession because her daughter was just so wild and out of control. This was a way to get her to stay in the home, and it just showed how dysfunctional her home was and how this home basically was a complete place of chaos. Now, as Angelina Jolie was coming into adolescence, she was having problems connecting with people, and I talk about this in depth in my book, The Woman Crisis, because a lot of times when you have daughters who are raised and they have daddy issues, they have a hard time connecting with people, especially men. They have a hard time connecting with people because they don't feel loved and they don't have a sense of self-worth. And because they don't have a feeling of love or self-worth, it makes it hard for them to connect with people. And that's when they start participating in dangerous behaviors such as self-harm. Now, the reason why people participate in self-harm is because they feel like they have no connection to people and they have no connection to their own souls. So they feel like the only way that they can get a connection to anything is by cutting themselves, because that pain makes them feel like they're alive. And that's basically where Angelina Jolie had started building a serious issue as related to her mental health. She started to look to go out here and have any semblance of feeling. This is something that a lot of girls do because, again, the daddy issues lead to them going out here and wanting to feel some sort of sensation, because women are naturally emotional. And because women are naturally emotional, they want to, and since they can't feel any sort of emotions, this is one of the things that motivates them to go out here and participate in self-harm. Now, as this was going on, Angelina Jolie also had to deal with insomnia and an eating disorder, and was also on drugs. So she had a lot of serious issues and even planned to commit suicide, and at 22 also wanted to go out here and hire a hitman to kill her. Angelina Jolie definitely was a woman in crisis for an extended period of time, and she was dealing with a lot of serious issues, and they all go back to her relationship with her father, which was extremely dysfunctional. Now, after Angelina Jolie hired a hitman, she wound up at the age of 24 having a nervous breakdown and wound up admitted to the UCLA Medical Center for her mental health and wound up in their psychiatric ward. And again, she just had severe mental health issues for an extended period of time. But all of this has its roots as related to her relationship with her father, John Voight, who basically, when he abandoned the family, created most of the daddy issues that Angelina Voight and her brother James Voight had at the time. And things got so bad for Angelina Voight that she wound up changing her name to just Angelina Jolie, because she was just so angry with her father, and she really didn't want much to do with her father, even though her career was starting to begin in the 1990s, and she was making a lot of different movies. She started out with the direct-to-video film Cyborg 2, which basically gave her a complex to the point where she didn't audition for a year because she didn't understand that direct-to-video movies aren't very good. They're just movies that people do in order to make some money. And later on, she went on to star in movies like Hackers, which was her first big film. She then went out here and did films like Love Is All There Is and Mojave Moon and Foxfire. And again, she oftentimes played a lot of these dark and gritty roles, and eventually got one of her big roles, which was Girl Interrupted, which was her Academy Award-winning role, and continued to go on and star again in many different films. But she still remained a woman in crisis as she starred in, again, many acclaimed films like Gia, and films again like Girl Interrupted and many other films. She still had a lot of serious issues, and those serious issues really impacted her personal life. Now, she says when she adopted her first child, it helped her deal with some things because it allowed her to have somebody to basically connect and bond with. But she still was struggling with a lot even worse issues because she was still having these daddy issues that further impacted most of her relationships. Because after she had all of these, after she had her boyfriend for 2 years, she then left that boyfriend, and after she broke up with that boyfriend to dedicate herself to acting, she then started having different relationships with different guys and girls, because Angelina Jolie is bisexual, and she's been out here, she's had relationships with guys and girls, and then eventually had a relationship where she married Billy Bob Thornton, where she basically had a vial of blood on her neck, again showing how she was again just deeply disconnected from people and was participating in this deviant behavior. And she was participating in this deviant behavior because this was her way of trying to again get more attention from her father, and was looking to get attention from her father with these kinds of stunts, because this is what a lot of girls who are abandoned by their fathers do. They wind up participating in behaviors like the cutting or the tattooing like Angelina Jolie has done. Again, this is all rooted in daddy issues, and she was all out here after she married Billy Bob Thornton, and they wound up separating. She then went out here and then got involved in an affair with Brad Pitt, who was married to Jennifer Aniston. And I believe, again, this is another attempt to try to get the attention of her father. She was looking to have this affair with a married man when her own father basically cheated on her mother. This is again further showing how Angelina Jolie became an intergenerational woman in crisis, because her father went out here and cheated on her mother, and then she went out here and then cheated with a married man, showing sadly how she has not really looked to go out here and try to improve as related to the quality of her life. And sadly, as she went out here, she then wound up breaking up Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston's marriage, and further making Jennifer Aniston again bitter like her mother used to be, and basically messing up that family. And then she wound up marrying Brad Pitt, and after she married Brad Pitt, he wound up getting with her, and then they wound up building a family where she took the name Angelina Jolie Pitt, which really shows me again how she's just basically got serious issues. But what led to the marriage basically falling apart, I believe, is that she wound up not wanting to submit to Brad Pitt and wanting to be under his authority. And she basically didn't want to be under his authority, because when it comes to many of these women who come from divorce, what happens is these women have a fear of submitting to male authority. And because they have a fear of submitting to male authority, because they fear that if they submit to that man, what they will do is abandon them, what these women do is they wind up bucking these men's authority. And oftentimes when a woman cheats with you, she's possibly gonna cheat on you. And while they declared themselves divorcing for irreconcilable differences, I believe what happened to Brad Pitt as related, and Angelina Jolie as related to their marriage, is that Angelina Jolie, who was a wild woman, basically did not again want to submit to the authority of Brad Pitt, who she basically had no respect for, because he went out here and cheated on his wife. And because he cheated on his wife, he basically had no respect. She had no respect for him. And she basically wanted to see if she could get attention, really, from her father to go out here and call her out. But when he didn't call her out after 12 years, because he had already done this already, he didn't care. And that's what basically, I believe, also was a motivating factor for her wanting to leave that marriage. And as things went on with Angelina Jolie, she then went out here and also looked at participate in a preventive double mastectomy and also had her ovaries taken out. And that also basically was something that possibly broke up Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, because she no longer had any sort of sexual organs that made her sexually attractive to Brad Pitt. So Angelina Jolie was a woman who definitely had a lot of serious issues as related to trying to do this double mastectomy and also going out here and removing her ovaries, because she feared her mortality as related to her mother dying of ovarian cancer in 2007, and basically her aunt also died of breast cancer, so she had a lot of fears as related to her mortalities. And this basically put Angelina Jolie, as related to changing her body, further on the woman in crisis. And again, she was a woman in crisis with a lot of serious issues, and all of those issues that Angelina Jolie had really were the main foundation for all of them had to do with her daddy issues as related to her father. Now, if you want to learn more about what leads to women winding up on the road to becoming women in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to see me make more videos like this about Hollywood historical women in crisis, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, All About the Goddess. The Goddess Next Door bears all in the art studio to catch a campus stalker in this action-packed Isis series mystery. Get your copy of Isis, All About the Goddess in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.